Last Wednesday, the Bank of Canada announced a rate cut. The overnight target rate is lowered by 50 basis points to 1.25%. That's the lowest since the 2008 recession. The Big Six banks, RBC, Scotiabank, TD Bank, CIBC, BMO, and National Bank, all reacted to match the Bank of Canada's 50-point reduction. The new prime rate of 3.45% was effective last Friday. Let's say you are holding a $500,000 mortgage at variable rate. Then you would be saving around $2,500 per year. What do you think the rate cut would do to our market? Jack up the price? Well, that's not what the Bank of Canada thinks. The Bank of Canada predicts a decline in consumer confidence due to the spread of the coronavirus. People would hold off on making big purchases, and that would lead to reduced activity in the housing market. So, the Bank of Canada actually wants to stabilize the housing market. That's why they announced the rate cut. They do not think the interest rate would send home prices skyrocketing. In fact, many observers expect the Bank of Canada to announce another 25-point rate cut next month. Let me share something interesting with you. The news headlines have a very different opinion than the Bank of Canada. On Toronto Star, a Bank of Canada rate cut over coronavirus fears could push Toronto home prices even higher. On Globe and Mail, Bank of Canada rate cuts will put already hot real estate market on steroids. On Bloomberg, virus-driven rate cuts could add kerosene to housing market. I think these headlines are backed by two main reasons. Number one, the logical reason. There is an underlying demand and supply problem in Toronto market. Supply continues to fail to meet demand. The Toronto Real Estate Board just released the February statistics. The number of transactions jumped 45.6% from February 2019. The coronavirus crisis started back in January. Yet, February sales were up 14.8% compared to January. The average selling price for all home types combined was up by 16.7% compared to last year. Given that sales growth is still well in excess of listing growth, the Toronto Real Estate Board's current forecast stays at 10% price growth for 2020. Number two, the psychological reason. There's an opinion on the Bloomberg article. People are not concerned about coronavirus. People are not concerned about recession. The only thing they are worried about is buying a home. And if they don't buy now, they might spend more in the future. That's a sign of FOMO, the fear of missing out. People in Toronto are so used to an ever-increasing market for the past decade. So when everyone is rushing to buy, you feel that you would be missing out if you don't follow. The atmosphere in the market right now is similar to the peak time in 2017. If you see a decent unit for sale, you are almost guaranteed to be in a bidding war. The lineups to buy new houses are reappearing again, and people are paying cash just to buy a spot at the front of the line. It is good to be ready to buy and take actions, but don't do silly things like that. Don't just blindly follow the crowd. Remember, you are investing for long term, so make sure you stick to the basic principles. A high-density AAA location with public transportation offers the best investment value because it will give you a strong and stable stream of rental income to keep your property running over the years. A great location will also give your property a better appreciation over the average. As I have always said, we won't be able to time the market. So we invest for long term, and the short term ups and downs would become irrelevant. So it is always a good time to invest if you have your funds ready. But be selective. I share my opinion and news on the Toronto real estate market every single week. So if you want to stay on top of the market, go ahead and subscribe now.